Oh, there he is.
He's back.
Okay, everybody. Welcome again to Quest and Quill, Campaign 1, Facing the Frontier. In this episode, a breath of fresh air will join the party after they've left the caves. But first, I want to thank our artist, unseen underscore illist. That's hard to say. Unseen underscore illist on Twitter. Our friend Unseen, she does commissions now. So if anybody wants to commission a beautiful art, she has a bunch of different styles. You're very welcome to check her out. I'm very, very happy with the work. And as you can see in our beautiful new character tokens and our beautiful new character portraits, how brilliant she is. As we all remember, last week in episode 6, it started after Aslan and Saul had taken a bit of a nap and the others had spent their time rummaging through the train or underneath it, trying to clear the tracks. They wake to find a strange light glowing in the cave and see one of these other strange chromatic orbs that had been bothering them. So they defeat it and are able to regroup, deciding then to head deeper into the caves, where they're able, in a pool of water, to find the missing archaeologist. They find him alive, luckily, breathing still, and Aslan takes him up into his arms. But while they're trying to head back, a vicious, worm-like creature with strange, partitioned mouth attacks them, and Frank, blasting it in the face, starts the party off on a bit of a run. Missing his jump, he scrambles to get out of a small hole that has broken through to the cavern floor, the tunnel. But luckily, Saul used his ingenuity. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. It's all right.
Relax, bro.
Only the internet. It only lasts forever. Used his ingenuity to put a rope down, and the party slid out of harm's way rather rapidly, able to board the train and get it started before the beast could fall down the hole to follow them. They then hit it with the train and sped up slowly, making their way finally out into the cool night air. This is where we find them again, as they take a deep breath of air that is not stagnant and doesn't smell like tunnel and whatever creatures lie within. And as they're there, stressed and a little bit injured and probably a bit terrified, I imagine, Dr. Feckfumble is there going, "No, I demand you go back. I have to have AI. He's my best friend."
Saul is going to look between Feckfumble and Frank expectantly, since if I remember right, Frank had made sort of an ultimatum last session.
Frank has said last session that he was not going back, that he was not intending on it. And as Saul looks at Frank, Frank will notice this and say, "Sir, we are lucky to walk away with our lives already. Do you really want to tempt fate again?"
John would chime in and look to the professor, and he would also ask, beyond being your friend, what type of research does he hold? Is it really that important enough for us to die trying to get it back?
he acts as a sort of memory storage for all my notes that aren't on paper.
Oh,
And why is it so vital? Beyond your career, of course.
Why don't you have a backup?
He looks at you and goes, he is the backup friend.
oh no.
So why is it so vital? Is it vital? Is it important for anything more than your career?
Sort of looks at you with like sadness in his eyes. And he looks around the rest of the party, and you can see you guys have taken some blows, and there's definitely some dried blood on your clothes and some not so dried blood on a couple of you. And he sort of looks down defeated and decides to himself, okay, fine, we'll go then. But I must have him back. Will you help me?
John would look to the others and then look back to him, and he says, "Can't speak for everyone, but if you want to rescue the little guy, if we can come back prepared." He looks down the tracks, fear across his face, but he seems thoughtful for a moment, peering at the tunnel, and then he looks to him and he says, "Perhaps I'll consider it."
Lula is going to put a hand on John's shoulder, comforting him, and also nod along with John, saying, "Sure, yeah, we can do that."
So as
But
you
for
all
now, let's
Sorry.
go home.
The train keeps chugging on, and as you all look back at the menacing tunnel that you've just left, you seem to notice a figure in the moonlight as the moon's peak just over the mountains behind them. The moon peaks just over the mountains, and in the shadow cast by the bright moon, the long shadow, what seems to be a small figure, getting smaller in the distance as the train travels, cloaked, hooded, dark, and you could swear floating. And then it's too far away to see because the train is now picked up. It's now traveling at full pace, and you guys are making way.
So as John sees this, he would hold on to the railing on the back of the cart, and he just seems to be frozen in shock and fear, and not really comprehending what he's seeing, but at the same time fearing, I suppose.
I'm not the only one that saw that, right?
I reckon
Saul,
everyone saw it. Whoever wants to see it.
yeah, Saul shakes his head and he's smoking a cigarette and is taking out his gun and is checking the bullets inside, puts it back, and kind of just stares at the figure as it gets smaller in the distance. He definitely sits towards the back of the train, like facing that direction the whole time, ready.
As the
And
tunnel
then
gets smaller and smaller, so does the figure until, in the distance, eventually neither are visible.
so John would he would speak to himself, but you guys can hear him saying, and he says, "What is that? What is any of this? How is all of this connected? It doesn't make sense. It has to make sense somehow." Then he opens up his black booklet and he's leafing through it, looking over its writings inside. And then he would spend some time like that. He would sit on the ground as he tries to figure it all out, until eventually he tires of it, and he says, he just says, "I think I need some rest. Please, someone stay on lookout if you can." And then he curls up onto a ball and just sleeps on the wooden floor.
As he calls up into a ball on the floor, you guys notice that because you're just in the locomotive carriage here, there's not much space.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's the operator's chair. There's maybe about 2 square meters of space that seems to sit and just rumble, connected to the engine. And then there's a door, and outside of the door, there's perhaps like a couple of square feet of wood, which is the railing that you were standing on.
Okay. So in that case, I guess he would go inside instead and go into a corner and just sit up against like the corner and just hug his knees, you know, and put his head down on his knees.
Trying to take a long rest.
Yeah, I suppose if possible, if he can, in such a uncomfortable position.
Or a
Yep.
short rest.
I mean either or. I think it'll have the same effect. He gets his spells back.
How long is it gonna
Warlocks.
take us to get back to what is it, 1010? I'm assuming we're going.
Yeah, you guys are on the rail traveling back north.
How long would it take us to get there?
Well, everything going smoothly. Tenton was supposed to be the last stop before the tunnel, so it should be about a day. If you guys travel all night, you'll probably be there mid-morning, you'd suppose. That's all things going smoothly.
Okay.
Yeah, Saul would want to keep watch throughout the night. I think he managed to get like a good rest in before all this went down. I don't think he got hurt, so he's good to be up for a while. He might scramble out on top of the train, maybe perch with his back against the the smoke spout or whatever.
Um,
I think he's gonna
it's
lean back
somewhat
against.
what you imagine it like. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's where he is. He goes out there to give everyone some space and keep an eye out for a few hours.
Yep.
Does anyone want to do
Um,
anything? Because
Wanna give me
John
your
would.
perception- Do you want to
Okay.
give me your perception roll, Nate? And then if anybody
Sure.
else wants to do anything, yeah.
Aslan
you
is
can-
already asleep. He fell asleep leaning on the inside wall of the train. He's sleeping
He's
while
cool.
standing up.
Curled up like a ball. Okay, gotcha. Cats, man.
That's a 20 on the perception check.
Nice. Frank.
Frank is like hunched over the controls of the train, and you can, for those who are still awake, you can just hear him go, I'm gonna stay up anyway. I don't think I'll be able to sleep after that.
Lula.
Yes.
And so.
Lula.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, sorry. So Lula is going to, before Saul goes up, she's going to tell him, hey, if you get tired, just swap with me if you feel tired. And if Fake Fumble is awake, she would like to ask him what he recalls before blanking out.
Okay. Was there something you wanted to say, John?
No, you can have that happen first. But before we move on to anything else, I would like to do something. Yeah.
So Dr. Feckfumble will look at you as you ask him this question. He'll say, something I recall? What do you mean?
Just anything that's out of the ordinary. I mean, came across a pyramid, and I'm sure you saw some weird things. Maybe they're puzzles in a big picture of a mosaic, and maybe that'll help us solve what's going on around here.
You
What happened?
see his eyes light up as you say this, and he goes, finally, I think someone gets it. So, okay, it's just a theory anyway. And then he looks at the warlock trying to curl up and sleep in the corner, and he goes, Mister, sorry, I didn't get your name. You said you had my book.
John?
So John is he still seems to be sleeping, but upon being spoken to, you guys would suddenly feel some sort of strange static in the air, and his hair slowly begins to frizz from his scalp. You see a little shifting on his head, and all of a sudden, small like debris on the ground, like little pebbles and dust, it seems to like begin to shake and tremble a little bit, and some of the knobs and the controls on the train, they begin to turn slowly and then suddenly quickly, and then like back and forth, shakingly, falteringly, and then all of a sudden one of the levers gets pulled back, and he still seems to be sleeping.
I'm afraid Frank just went away. Who would be the only
Oh.
person who'd react to that?
Well, I'm perched on top
I'm
of
sure-
the train. If
I'm
that
sure.
messes anything up.
So,
So you can hear
one of the
Frank.
levers just seemed to pull itself. Like it seemed to just jerk back. Like, chink.
Is it any specific lever? Is it like the one that's the speed lever, or what should I
Thinking-
imagine the purpose
Thinking
of
about
this
it,
lever?
I mean, so this is the problem. Frank, as an artificer, would know more than Nick, as idiot. It's some sort of mechanism that has to do with the control of the like tension on the track, basically.
Okay,
So
I
if you
get
if you make it tighter, then it sits tighter. If you make it looser, it sits looser, something like that. And basically, what it's doing now is like pulling the handbrake, like driving with the handbrake on a car, where it's just grinding all the stuff. It's like
Yeah,
it's slowing
you.
the train down as it chugs along, the locomotive
get you.
down as it chugs along.
So you can see Frank, like, first of all, he's freaking out at that stuff just randomly moving, and you can see him like very adamantly trying to fix all the dials that seem to be moving at once. And then you can just hear him go, "What the fuck is going on?" And then he calls over Saul and Effect FOMO and be like, "Help me! These dials are going crazy. We're on the break for some
Yeah.
reason."
Then as this is happening, John, he's gonna slowly like begin to tilt, from his position. And all of a sudden he falls like sprawled on the floor, and you see that he's convulsing, and his eyes are like glowing a little bit as his eyelids shudder.
Saul feels the
Pick up on
train
John.
jerk and start to slow down, sitting on top.
He's gonna catch himself as best he can, and once he's righted himself, he's gonna scramble down into the train proper, see what's going on. If he sees John as convulsing, I would like to do a medicine check to try to get him. Stable's not a good word, but keep him from hurting himself and maybe wake him.
Roll for it. Lula, what were you saying?
I'll assist Saul in any way that she can.
Yeah,
Basically.
you just like trying to grab the back of his head, make sure he doesn't hurt himself. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
I
you can
gotta
roll with
tell you-
advantage.
Out from
Beginning
this.
to roll down his ear, his nose, and beginning to seep from his ears a little bit.
Can I get
Oh, no.
advantage on the medicine check with the help?
Yeah.
You can hear Frank just still furiously trying to fix these dials. Just be like, "If you don't help me, we'll all be dead soon. Come on, we need help." And he will try and push the lever that does the brake back. I don't know how strong the force is that's pushing it down, but he would try to push it back to its original position.
So it's not very strong, but a lot of things would be like, you go in, you fix one knob, and then you go to do another, and then that one like starts getting messed with again. You're like, God damn it! It's hard to make progress with all that's going on.
Yeah, that's why he's doing several. But like the
But
one
anytime
lever
you
that's
try to
putting on
contest
the
it,
brake.
like you can definitely do it. Like you feel something pulling, some invisible force pulling it, but it's not very strong.
Okay, so then you guys can just feel the train just go "Eek, eek, eek." Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a car that isn't quite in gear yet and just jerks forward. That's basically what's happening as this lever gets
just
pulled
like-
forward and down, over and over again.
It's
as
like
he's doing all
lurching,
of the
right?
dials.
As
Yeah.
Aslan's like sort of like there on the thing and is like rocking back and forth, rocking back, boom, smacks on the side of the train.
I got a dirty 20 on the medicine check if that helps with anything.
You are being helped, John. How would you like to react?
I mean, he seems to be unconscious. Like his eyes are shuddering, but he doesn't seem to be aware of his surroundings.
You can
So you would grab his body and try and still him. But he's still shaking, convulsing.
Yeah.
Um,
You can make sure he doesn't bang his head. You can make sure he doesn't swallow his tongue. All of that is sorted. Like, don't worry about it. It's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
but this continues on for another minute until finally the happening slowly begins to die down, and until it finally like every little reminiscent of whatever is happening, it just dies down instantly as soon as he wakes up, and he comes to, and he looks around, and he looks all confused and scared. And then he sees that Saul is holding him, and then he pushes himself away from Saul and into a corner, and he's looking around confused. saying, what's happening? What's going on? Are we being attacked?
John, it's okay, John. It's all right. It's all right. You're safe. You just had a bad
What's this?
something.
I'm
It's all
bleeding.
right. You're okay. You're okay. Don't worry about it. You're all right.
I was having a nightmare, but why am I bleeding? He looks around.
You can see Frank just like finally fixing all the knobs and everything, and then he just sits down and grabs his flask, starts drinking.
What happened?
So effectively, like Frank puts like, you know, they've all been switching back and forth, and he switches one and it switches itself back, and he like switches one and he switches another, and he goes, and they've all stayed in place this time.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. That's why he like goes and sits down, just sighs in relief.
So does someone want to
Oh,
answer John
yeah.
about what's happening?
Okay. All right. John, as you're falling asleep, you started getting a little bit all lightning like and green, and things started going kaflooey all around here, and you started bleeding from your nose and your ears. That was kind of weird. I don't know if it's a common thing with you, Pointy, but I don't know. You seem to be okay. You seem to be
Common
okay.
thing? No, nothing like this ever happened to me.
You
I
almost
wonder why.
crashed us. You hear
I'm
from Frank.
Oh, Frank, calm down, calm down. You didn't
sorry.
do it on
I
purpose.
didn't mean to. You
I
have to believe
understand.
me.
But next time when I say you come help me or we'll all crash, I suggest you help me. And
Sorry,
he
sorry.
looks really angry at Lula and Saul for not helping him earlier.
Sorry.
Maybe that place. Maybe it did something to me. I could feel it
Did.
inside. My head hurts. Uh,
He's gonna
maybe.
offer a wineskin full of water.
Thank you.
Tastes that it's water, not wine.
So
It
thirsty.
is water.
Thank you, Saul. I think I'm okay. He pulls out a handkerchief from a pocket in his coat, and then he wipes his face clean. Before he looks at the handkerchief and almost like in an expression of disgust before he folds it back up and puts it away into a pocket.
Wait,
John,
John.
you want a drink for that headache? You can see as Frank just like reaches the bottle like next to the chair. You can only see his arm reaching out.
He looks to it and he thinks for a moment and he says, no, thank you. I'm not sure if that's gonna help. Maybe
John,
once we get back to town, I think I'll be okay. Thank you,
John,
friends. You're too kind.
John,
Yes?
John. Before you head off to sleep, Fix Fumble would like to have a look at his notes that you have.
Oh, his notes? I mean,
Yes.
can I copy them first?
Fix Fumble?
He says, yeah, looking to Fick Fumble.
Big Fumble looks at you, and before he had like excitement in his face with Lula, and then like he's just seen this freaky situation happen in front of him, and he froze in fear. You get the feeling that he's the timid type, and he looks at you with much apprehension in his face and says, "For what purposes would you want to copy them?"
Well, in case you haven't noticed, Professor, there's a great evil about us in this land, and we're trying to solve this issue and quell this threat. And we need all the information we can get. We need to know everything you know. And if we must, we need to know everything that AI knows as well. And that includes everything that's written in here. He says as he puts a hand into his overcoat and pulls out the professor's notes, and he shakes it as he
You can
says
hear
this.
Frank going, "Oh." So you can hear Frank just say, you lost your backup, so we want to make you a new one."
Fake Fumble looks at you with he quivers as you pull out the notes. First of all, he looks at you with a desire in his eyes. It's weird when you pull out the notes, the reaction that he has noticeably, and he almost licking his lips like, I don't think there's any evil that you need to quell. Just a great mystery that needs to be unwrapped.
Does he reach out with his hand towards the notes?
Yes.
So
He's-
as he does
He's
this,
approaching you, like inching towards you slowly.
okay. So John's holding it out like this, and as he does this, he's like, "Ah, I'm afraid I'll have to disagree with you on that." As he tucks it away, and he says, "You say there is no evil, but then what were those monsters? Is that your version of a mystery?"
No,
Professor?"
please. And then he looks at you and goes, monsters? And in his eyes, they almost glass over for a second, and he has a twitch. What are you talking about?
So John is gonna put a hand on his shoulder and look into his eyes over his glasses, and he's like, "Professor, tell me what you know."
I'm an archaeologist. I know about the ruins and their connection to some ancient civilization. But he looks around at like the whole group. I don't know if you want to hear a lecture.
We have time.
He says,
I would.
Well, he says, what we need to know is what is the connection between those creatures in the tunnels, the pyramid, and the lights in the sky? What do you know of this?
He looks at you and like sort of blinks. Lights in the sky? What are you talking about?
I believe you came to the tunnels with a sheriff and a deputy, along with some other people. Do you remember this?
He sort of looks around. No. I came with a small archaeology team. My cousin helped me set it all up. My brother helped me set it all up. A sheriff? What are you talking about?
Well,
You can roll insight, but he genuinely seems lost.
he says, well, at the very least, a group followed you, and they were attacked by flaming sphere of different colored lights. It seemed to pulsate some type of energy that made us sick, burned people, and even turned the Tenton sheriff, some hobgoblin, into a monster. Not
His
much
eye,
different than the ones in the tunnels.
his eyes are getting wider and wider as you talk about it. He goes, What monsters in the tunnels? There's just an old ruin in there.
He
It's,
says,
it's
enough of this, Professor. Tell me what you know. Musinakanasheyo. He says as his eyes glow green, and the professor's eyes also glow green as he interlocks, as their eyes
John,
interlock, and
John,
he casts detect thoughts.
John, I don't think they're related.
Can I do an insight check on the on the statement of him saying like what monsters in the tunnels, whether or not he's actually dumb
I need
or
a wisdom save, DC 14. Professor.
14.
Yeah.
I rolled a natural 13. I don't have the professor's stats up, unfortunately. I do have them somewhere. I'm just not going to take the time to find them. But sort of doesn't matter. You can roll your insight check. As you go into his brain and you reach and you try and detect thoughts, you feel his surface thoughts, of course, him thinking about the conversation. And for the most part, they're monsters, lights. What are they talking about? And then you get some like deep, like the stonework, and at least one person believes me that they're all connected, and maybe these guys might understand. And then as you delve deeper and you start to look for memories of monsters or something along those lines, there's a gap, and it's almost like nothing was ever there.
He says, his eyes still glowing, and he says, "Think, Professor. Think of the last thing that you remember before you blacked out."
As you say this,
As he
you
says, trying to probe deeper into his mind
you feel
to try and
memories
help
of
him
him.
recollect. I'm sorry.
You see memories of him and AI walking up the stones that you guys so well recognize from being inside the tunnel. You see him reaching the top of one, raising the lantern, looking out over the pyramid. And then you see blackness. And then after you see blackness, you see light. Similar light. Yellow, orange,
Yes,
red.
those lights.
And then as
Focus
you
on
see
them.
that, you feel a psychic hit you in the head. You take 3 points of psychic damage, and so does the professor. His eyes glaze over white,
Ah!
and he falls to the ground. Oh,
Yeah, John
what
would
are you doing
definitely
to me?
John would definitely flinch at this, and he would roll a con save to see if he maintains concentration on the spell.
The professor is visibly panicking.
Hey, he passes.
He can
John, what are
maintain
you
the
doing?
spell, but inside the professor's mind, you don't see it, you feel it. And through your mind, you can feel it in the nerves at the back of your spine. Pain, excruciating, warping, pain. Like your wrists being twisted, like someone who likes BJJ got you in a headlock, in like a leg lock or something. It sucks. It's not nice.
I can
And it starts
perfectly
to
imagine that.
wrench at your brain. Can I have a wisdom saving throw, please?
Yes,
John, don't push it.
ooh,
You
nat
just-
20, 23 total.
Nat 20.
Yeah.
You're somehow able to break through the pain. You are going to take damage in a second, but before you take damage, you're able to reach into the brain, into memories that shouldn't be there, and you see what look like two just like glazed eyes. You see nothing else. There's blackness, but two eyes in just pure black. There's no pupil. There's no just black eyes staring at you, and it says, "The eye, the eye, I know, yeah." And then you take
I
another
didn't
6
catch
points of psychic damage.
the very last of it. The eye, what?
Seek the eye.
Okay.
And then you take 6 points of psychic damage, as does the professor, who then falls unconscious.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna say initially he had his hand on his shoulder as he's casting the spell and probing his mind. But then once they start taking damage and the professor starts to struggle, John just instinctively seems to want to like keep the connection, so he actually brings both his hands around the professor's head and brings their heads closer as he like struggles and as he's probing him. And before the connection breaks, you people around him begin to hear John go and then they break, and then they seem to like almost get pushed apart as John also stumbles back and bangs into the wall within the locomotive before he falls downwards and he's groaning. Ugh, what was that? Holding his head.
The professor, after you like held his head, literally just falls to the ground limp, unconscious, blood just leaking out of his nose.
Hey, John, what happened?
The eye. Something about an eye. There's other horrors in those tunnels. Something great. Something evil.
So please check up on Fick. I'm just gonna check John if he's okay.
I'm fine, just my head, it's pounding. The professor, is he okay?
Saul's gonna do first aid on the professor.
He's gonna make a death saving throw.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah,
Not the first one. Yeah, make your check.
This motherfucker's dying.
To be fair, he failed the first one. He's made two. He was about but make your medicine check. You wouldn't know that.
It's a
So I
14.
wasn't telling you guys.
Yeah, no, I didn't
14's
want to
good.
interrupt.
You can stabilize him, but he's still unconscious, and he's like, you don't see any physical damage. He's not hurt in any way, shape, or form, but the blood leaking out of his nose indicates that he doesn't feel so good.
All right.
What
Yeah,
did he
I'll make
say?
him comfortable. Try to staunch the bleeding. I don't know. I might burn some sage or something.
Start chanting a mantra.
That'd be pretty cool to starts burning some incense, chanting a mantra over him.
Yeah, I might use the herbalism kit, put some eucalyptus under his nose or something. Help him calm down.
Yeah.
He's still
Okay.
unconscious, isn't he?
Oh,
He's
yeah,
still unconscious, but
I just
he
don't want him to
seems to
be
be
so stressed
stabilized.
out no more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
the
Frank,
incense scent will enter Aslan's nose, and he'll go, "Oh, what's for dinner?" Completely oblivious to what just happened.
you can see Frank turning around and going, "What are you morons doing?" And then as he just saunters over, sees John and sees the feck fumble. Sorry, I gotta make sure I say it the right way.
Doctor.
And
Feck.
yeah. And he sees that the doctor is unconscious, and he puts on his glove and goes, "Ah, idiots!" as he like touches him and casts cure wounds on him.
Have we had a long rest already?
I have a spell slot left.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He what the fuck was he doing to me? And you see him panic and start to scramble away from all of you into a corner.
9 healing, by the way. Frank, seeing this man getting up, will just go back to his seat and continue manning the train. As you can just hear him under his words, idiots, as he takes off the glove.
He John looks to him, and he looks like he's in pain. There's a frown on his face, and sweat beating down his the side of his head, and he says, "I was trying to read your thoughts. You have some kind of suppressed memory in your head, hiding something terrible. You couldn't remember it, but I found it."
He looks at you suspiciously. Goes, "Do you always just go around stealing people's stuff and breaking into their brains?"
He says, "Only recently, and only because I have to. You weren't telling us anything. We have to know. We need to know what's going on."
He shouts at you, "I don't know, okay? I don't know about any monsters. I don't know what you're talking about."
Well, what do you know of the Eye?
As you say the eye, his eyes go wide. He goes, "Seek the eye."
That's not creepy at all.
Yeah.
He seems to be in some sort of trance.
Yeah, John would look shocked, and then he would slowly turn towards the party and like look at them as if to say, "Are you seeing this?"
Lula's just gonna nod her head.
"What is the Eye?" He would snap back to the professor and say, "What is the Eye? Where is it?"
Seek the eye. He seems to be
Tell
like
us!
sort of swaying as if under some sort of drunken trance.
He would put his hands on his shoulders and shake them, and he would say, "Tell us! Tell us what it is!"
He's gonna grab and make a grapple, so I need to contest his strength roll from you.
Can it be acrobatics?
He rolls with disadvantage, so if you want to run away, it's acrobatics, but I don't think it's much of an issue because he's a teeny tiny little gnome.
What are you gonna do? Bite his ankles?
Frank,
I think you're overestimating John's strength.
Saul
Razzle.
would like to. Saul would like to.
And it's a 1.
With disadvantage,
No.
Dr. Feckfumble rolled a 3.
Yeah, I got a 3. I got a 3 also. So I guess he
3?
fails.
Um,
Does he have to pass it or beat it? I mean, does he have meet it or beat it?
I don't know. I think meets it beats it. I think you, as a
Okay.
defender, you just have to meet it. So, he isn't able to grab at you, but while you're like holding him and he's like scrambling at your arm, he's gonna say, "No!" and just try and like pull himself up your arm and take a strike at your face. He
Yes.
seems to be like whited out, not completely there.
So as he goes to grab him, this freaks John out, and he gasps and takes a step back, and he trips over his own feet and falls on the ground. And then all of a sudden, I imagine the professor will like fall on him, and they're just like struggling. And then John just begins screaming, "Ah! Get him off of me! Get him off of me!"
He's just pummeling little gnomish fists into your
Yeah.
face, going, "Seek the eye! Seek the eye! Seek the eye!"
Help!
Saul's going to do non-lethal strike.
Poor professor.
Just
Gonna
gonna
knock him unconscious twice in the space of 10 minutes.
just gonna give him a little nap. Just
It's
let the poor guy sleep it
Karate
off. Do I
chop
need
him.
do I need to roll for that?
Make your attack.
Okay.
That's what I'm picturing. But it's up to you what Soul does.
So 24.
God damn.
7 points of
Damn.
non-lethal damage. And that's
The
from the first
professor
attack.
the professor goes from to and just falls unconscious on top of John, slumping down. His little gnomish body is a little bit heavier than you expected. Maybe he's a bit tubby.
Yeah, gonna pull him off of John, set him up real nice in the corner, give him a blanket,
Yeah,
a
John's
pillow. He's gonna shoot a slightly unapproving glance at John.
What? He attacked me!
He shakes his head, disappointed.
So that's a
Steps
no on
back
the
out.
dinner.
Oh.
You idiots keep it down till we get back to town.
I'm gonna hand Aslan a piece of jerky.
Gonna help John up and also chastise him as much as she possibly can, but just try not to do that again, please.
What?
Look, I may have no idea on how magic works, but it's kind of rude just to like start poking someone insistently, trying to get an answer out of him. It's kind of rude, but I get it. But
This is life or
no.
death. Don't you see?
Yeah, he just got out of it. At least could have waited until he felt better.
Dinner?
He was sleeping in a pool of water when we found him. We're the ones fighting the monsters. He said he didn't even remember monsters. Look, we have to do something. We can't just take people's word for it sometimes.
I'm not denying that, but just I don't know. Maybe
Was
look,
it
I think
rude?
we're all
Sure, but it was born out of necessity. I'm sure you can see this, Lou. You're a smart woman.
I may be a smart woman, but that doesn't mean I've look.
And
I think about
besides,
this.
we have our next lead now.
Do we?
Yes, the eye. Seek the eye. That's what he said. He says, gesturing to the unconscious professor.
True.
Did
We
you
know
just
where the
drop him on
treasure
the floor,
is.
like,
We know about the treasure, but we don't even know where to start walking to.
No,
How
it's
do we
not.
get there?
It's not treasure. It's a weapon.
It's an analog galagally. How we pronounce it?
No. There wasn't speaking metaphor. I could tell. It was within his mind. Something about an eye. I think the eye is the weapon. The one that they're going to use against us. Whoever this is evil.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sure. All right.
Look, he's okay. He's not hurt. I mean, not very hurt. He'll be fine.
Okay, John. You got a point there. I think we should all just rest. And tomorrow we'll just follow what you gathered.
No, I can't rest. Not after that. But you go on. I'll keep a lookout on this. He says as he opens the door and goes out to the back part of the locomotive and puts his hands on the rail and leans over with a frown, peering to the darkness of night.
Luna's gonna stay awake until John comes back, and then when he eventually does, fall asleep.
He wouldn't come back. He would stay out
Luna's gonna pass the fuck out.
there. Okay.
Frank would at some point notice that he's getting a little not sober and getting quite tired. He's gonna get Saul to come over and basically like show him like if this goes forward, if anything happens, you pull this one backwards, and just kind of explain to him like
Okay.
and then says if anything happens, just wake me up. But I need a little nap, and you can just see him just conk out.
All right.
So that's Aslan, Frank, Lula who are conked out. Aslan, you said you're going back to sleep, right? Or was that just me?
Oh yeah, he burped after the jerky and went straight back to sleep.
Straight back
He
to
didn't
sleep.
even wait for the
that's
conversation to finish.
in character. Then it's just Saul and John. Saul looking out into the darkness, seeing maybe about 10 meters of track in front, 10 feet of track in front of them, as the subtle, like dim glow from the front of the locomotive lights it up, and then the beauty of the night sky. Under the plains, you guys. In the Netherlands, yeah, so you would have never seen stars like this before. You have to go out to like the middle of nowhere in like Friesland or something to see stars like that. But it's something that I think
I have
Um,
traveled before. I know what I know what you
yeah.
mean.
it's like seeing the Milky Way on a clear night sky, only far more vibrant and intense.
So, John would most definitely get distracted by this, and as he's like watching the six of the train, he would look up towards the stars after a while, and begin to speak to himself, and he would say, "What is happening? Can I really handle this? I don't know if I can." He says, and then tears begin to stream down his cheeks. But the people on the train wouldn't see it as he's facing away from the door, the glass door.
So whereas before, where you'd heard something or felt something from glaring up into the night sky, there's a lonely, solemn silence. Nothing. And as the tears stream down your face and you're looking deep into the night sky, you feel something scratch the back of your brain. But it doesn't develop into anything.
He would put a hand on the back of his head real quick. Then he would take a deep breath and close his eyes and brings his hands back down to the rail, squeezing them tight, his knuckles turning white as he says, "I can do this. I have to do this." And then he would, after this, he would recompose himself and go back to being on watch, only sparing a glance to the skies every now and then, trying to stay focused on the danger around him instead of the beauty of the cosmos.
As you unleash your hands off of the railing, you hear a small whisper. Do it. And you look down to the rails and notice that in the place where your fingers were, the metal seems to be just slightly bent in place.
Like it's sunk, or I see like my finger indentations or something like that.
Like it was bent.
Okay.
But way more than John is. He's not strong enough to do that.
Yeah, so indented by his hand, yeah.
All right. So yeah, he would look down at that, and then he would look shocked for a split second, and then he would glance over his shoulder to the rest of the compartment, and then he would he would like go inside, not say anything about it.
Saul looks out into the darkness along the rail. In the dim light of the train, as you guys are moving along, you see you see things move in the light and the darkness, but being a human, you don't see much. John comes back inside, closing the door behind him with a little squeak. Does Saul do anything?
He's gonna offer him a cigarette because he can tell he's stressed out.
Okay, thank you, Saul. I guess I can. He would
Yeah.
take it, and then he would glance over to the outside, and he says, "Yes, outside."
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
He was asking, saying, "Oh, I think maybe we should go outside for this, huh? Or is it okay to smoke in here?"
He
He said,
he
he says, like
he
looking to the
shrugs.
sleeping people.
He shrugs, looks back at the controls he's supposed to be manning,
Oh,
and
he
then
says,
just walks outside.
He just
he
walks
does.
outside.
Yeah,
Wait, what does he do?
Okay.
Looks at the
He's-
controls, shrugs, walks outside.
it's a train. It runs itself.
So
You're lucky Frank isn't awake, bro.
so John would quickly follow after him, and as they get out there, he would try and walk around him and lean up against the railing to like block the fact that the railing was bent there where it wasn't before. With his body,
Mhm.
and then he would lean up against it, and then he would try and light the. I guess he would offer the cigarette to Saul because he doesn't have a lighter or anything like that on him.
Yeah, sure. He's got a book of matches. Lights the cigarette for him. Lights the cigarette for himself. Starts looking at the night sky and then back in the direction where the figure was chasing us before. Seems to be lost in thought about that.
Yeah. John just quietly wrestles his own demons as well. Just
The
trying
pair-
to deal with the anxiousness that he's currently feeling.
The pair share a cigarette in solemn silence. And as they do, staring back at the mountains from whence they came, they notice a shooting star. But instead of shooting across the night sky, whatever reason, it just goes poof, and disappears,
Like the wrong way. Like it goes upwards instead of down.
almost as if it originated from the mountains and then just disappeared into the night sky with a blimp.
John will go, Saul, did you see that?
He nods, dashes out his cigarette.
Saul,
And-
whatever. I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
But he's gonna look at you and then like somberly go back to the move to go back to the train controls. He looks a little freaked out.
Yeah. So as he turns to leave, John would quickly softly put a hand on his shoulder to stop him for a moment, to say, Saul, whatever is in that mountain, I'm telling you, it's festering, growing, spreading. We have to do something. We'll have to go back, and it might have to be sooner rather than later. We can't just walk away from this. Are you with me on this?
He points to the controls.
Not right now. I don't mean. I'm saying. I'm saying later, Saul.
He looks a little disappointed.
Like a toddler just points at the controls. Ah.
He says, "For tonight, I think at least I'm at the end of my rope. I can only take so much."
He hands John a second cigarette and a book of matches, and heads back inside.
Thank you, Saul. And then he lights up the cigarette and smokes alone.
Saul heads back inside the locomotive. The now familiar rumbling of the train as they chug along. And as he takes his seat again in the driver's seat, looking over the controls just as he left them, he looks up along the same familiar dark track. What? Except it's not the same. Is there a light on up ahead in front of them? Is there a light on the track? Why is there a light on the track?
I'm gonna hit the brakes.
It's getting closer really, really quickly. And with that,
I'm gonna go.
we will take a break. We will hit the brakes and take a break.
It's a good thing I went inside.
And with that, we'll be back with you in about 5-10 minutes. Thanks so
Heard.
much. See you soon.
Yeah.
It's probably just
And we're live again. Welcome back to Quest and Quill. Where we last left off, Saul had come back to the controls and seen them that nothing had happened to the train. It was perfectly as he left it. But there was a light on the tracks, and they were moving towards it rather rapidly. So, what's Saul gonna do?
He's gonna hit the brakes and pull the train into reverse.
Okay. So you
So-
slam the lever. The whole train just jerks.
So Frank, who's just sitting like next to the controls, just laying against, just slides and then hits his head and then just wakes up. What's going on?
What the
And,
heck?
he like gets up to see what Saul's doing and why we're breaking.
Right. He's gonna see. I don't know if it's if that's the way it works, where it's got the brake and then the reverse
So
lever.
basically, the lever is one lever that sits on a thing like this, and this is stationary, and stationary goes forward, quarter, half pace thing, and then flooring it, right? But then if you pull it all the way back, it goes into reverse. So what you've just done is pull it all the way back into reverse and slammed and like chucked the gears basically.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole train is now going as it slows down and jams to a
Right.
halt.
And I'm gonna scramble outside. My favorite thing to do is scramble around. I'm gonna scramble outside with the lantern, turn it on, get a good look at this thing.
Okay.
So,
I'm gonna
wait.
roll because the train, even to move it reverse and to do what you've done, it still has to decelerate, and you've decelerated at its most rapid pace, which still takes place over a couple seconds. So that's
Couple
decent.
seconds.
So wait, so he said he put it in reverse, right?
Yeah.
So seeing this, Frank would first like try and put the lever first to the brake because he knows that if you just put it in reverse, that's not going to work well. You're going to derail yourself. So he first puts it on back onto the brake itself instead of the reverse, and just has it on the hardest brake, and then so that it just comes to a stop and doesn't actually start reversing until after we've stopped.
There's also the emergency brake if you want to pull that too.
There's got to be he sees the thing we're heading towards, right? The light.
If you stand on top of the seat because it's like a little bit above you.
No, yeah, to do everything because he wanted to see.
Yeah. So whatever you're going towards, I rolled a 14 and a 7. It seems to be stationary on the track, and you get with Saul going as extreme as he did and actually like pulling the train into reverse, you're still slowing down, and as you like put the normal brake, you're still slowing down, and you're maybe about 20 meters from this thing. I don't know what that is in freedom units, and sliding towards it at like a crawl pace, like.
Okay, yeah. Seeing this person standing in the tracks, Frank would also pull the emergency brake
Yeah,
to make sure we don't hit it.
It appears to be a small campfire and a lantern and what looked like a couple of tents,
In the middle of the track?
like around the track. And as you start pulling towards it, and as you pull the emergency brake and the train like finally slows, you hear a familiar grind that you've heard before of the tracks underneath the wheels of the train going and squeaking like they had when you got onto the bit that twisted itself.
Mhm. So this is the repair crew.
Okay.
What do
What's
I-
happening?
Do
What
I
is
see
it?
any people running around?
There are a couple people who look very distressed, and one individual in particular, what seems to be a large Goliath man, jumping up and down, doing star jacks in the middle of the track, trying to get your guys' attention and get you to slow down as Frank pulls the emergency brake, and you finally slam to a halt about 30 feet in front of this, like 20 feet in front of this encampment.
So- John's head would pop out one of the windows and he would say, "We nearly killed you."
You just hear Frank here under his breath, idiots.
Yeah, you nearly killed us. What the hell was that?
Why are you
why are
on
you
the
in the way?
tracks? Yes.
Repairing the tracks. Why are you on the tracks?
We're going home.
It's
like-
not
he
repaired
like-
yet?
He just looks at you confused. He goes, "Home?
Tenton. We're heading for Tenton.
So Frank would get and would like after
Mr.
having
Weejan
stopped
told us about you. I'm sorry, go ahead, Frank.
Frank would get off the train and go and inspect this fixing of the rail to see what's like actually wrong with it and how far along they are with it. John can do his thing while he's going to inspect this.
Okay. He says, "Why aren't you finished yet? Mr. Weejan said you'd be done by now."
As Frank's getting down, this guy goes back. He goes, "Yeah, well, we had some delays.
Why? What kind of delays?
Well, a couple of people done went missing, and then the others didn't want to work no more. So I got about half the crew here."
As Frank inspects the tracks, he says, "Don't you know you're supposed to put a sign on the further down the road so that this doesn't happen?" And he really gives them a good like, "What are you guys doing, you morons? This is not how you're supposed to do your job."
He gives you a
Also
confused
right.
look. He goes, "We're at a sign."
So Saul's nowhere. You don't know where Saul is. He's gone.
So how long has Frank rested? Because I didn't actually put it in yet. Is it a short rest? Is it a long rest?
Yeah, you guys can have a short rest, sure.
Yay!
So, John would say, "Well, how long will it take you then? We have to go back. We must report to Mr. Weejan as soon as possible."
Well, at this rate, a couple man hours.
"No, that will not do. We'll help you. What do you need?"
And you could see Frank just starting to work on the rail himself. Just these two are still talking, and he's just like, "No, I'm gonna fix this."
You can cast mending on it if you want. You just never tried that before.
Ooh.
I mean, it's also his job, so he would have an inkling of knowing what to do, right?
Like I said, you can cast mending on it.
Yeah, but you don't
he would.
necessarily did work on a rail track before, right?
That's
Yeah.
exactly what he's hired for.
Well, that's what you're hired for, but you've never done it before.
No,
You were
but he
hired
would.
based on your previous work experience.
Yeah,
And mostly,
but
actually, not to work on the rail, but to be a mechanic.
Yeah,
yes,
you're
but Frank
you're a tinker.
Frank would still have researched it before like when on his way to Tenton.
And you
To
know that
know-
you could cast. You know that you could cast mending, and it would. If you're starting from a straight rail and you start from the straight rail casting mending, it will straighten the rail slowly as it goes along.
Okay,
Hmm.
Frank will start doing that. You guys can see him. For those who are looking again, holding his gun like a hammer, and putting a little metal parts on the butt of the gun, and just dink, dink, dink.
As he strikes, do we like see anything, like light or sparks or anything like
You
that?
can you can see it glowing a little bit. It glows a little bit red, so it looks like it's like the metal part is getting hot, but it's not actually hot. It's just that's just what it looks like, and he just dink, and you can see
Cool.
sparks flying off. Yeah,
How long would it take him?
I don't know
At that
how
rate,
much.
20 minutes. Like, there's still a bit of work to be done, but going along, foot by foot by foot by foot, it's maybe 15, 20 feet of rail that's actually properly messed up. And as you're doing this, the large Goliath man who sort of like has been put in charge of it goes, well, answering John's question from before, he says, well, we could, and then he sees this little gnomish figure just fixing the whole thing. He goes, well, I guess I don't need to do anything. Can we have a lift?
Would we be able to feasibly fit everyone on the locomotive?
You don't know how many people there are.
Well, how many are you? We already have 6 on it. We don't have a transport cart with us.
How did you get here?
We took a carriage, and he points, and like amongst one of the tents, you can just see like a normal like little wagon. They
Well, maybe if you left your carriage here, but do you really want to do that?
well, donkey's gone.
Gone. How?
He like shrugs his big shoulders. Same as the folks. Don't really know what happened.
How long have you been here?
Maybe this is our second night camping.
People went missing during the first night, was it?
Nods his bald head.
What did you see?
Like Goliath figures you've
Did you
seen
see
before. He
lights?
has like tattoos all up and down and rings on his arms, and he's a big Goliath figure.
Did you see any lights in the sky? Tell me.
No lights. They just sort of went. We had a sentry, but he said he didn't see nothing.
John would look around and he would say, there's giant scorpions in this area, right? This is the very same place we got attacked last time.
You look around and you notice that as you look with your dark vision, you notice that there's still bones just beneath the sand. It's the same spot.
And he says, didn't you notice the bones
So-
all around? Sorry, go ahead, Frank.
So you said they had a carriage, right? Is there a way to attach this carriage to the back of the
It's a cart,
train
not a
and just
carriage.
have
Sorry,
it be?
my
Because I'm
bad.
assuming it's on wheels.
It's just a cart.
Yeah, but it's still on wheels, right?
Yeah. Well, what you guys do notice as well, while you're all messing around and Frank is tinkering and whatever, is the hand cart that you guys had brought still sits in your way.
Oh.
Thought they were going to take care of that.
Well, maybe you could use the cart. If we could get it off the rack or off the rails, perhaps we could attach it to the back of the locomotive or to the front. Maybe. I don't know how you feel about that.
He sort of
That would
gives you a
potentially
look.
make enough room for everyone.
He gives you a look again, shrugs his big Goliath shoulder. He goes, "I'm a foreman, not an engineer. You tell me."
John will look to Frank and say, "Are we able to attach the hand cart to the front of the train?"
I suggest we do the back, unless you want the chances of them getting under our train.
Wow. Do you think we'll be able to lift it? Well, where's Aslan? I think we need him.
So
Aslan is
Frank will
sitting
know
by their
that generally
campfire.
this takes a team, sometimes a horse and a lever and a tool to do by hand. Mostly it's done with machinery and like a donkey.
Yes, but you said there was a Goliath. and we have a Leonin.
Donkey? Check.
Say it in character. Say it in character.
So, as I'm assuming Frank is still busy tinking this the reels together.
Indeed you are.
So you can just see him like kind of stop for a second and look upwards to him and go, two big guys, couple smaller guys. I think we can handle it. Are there any more strong people amongst this camp? And he like looks around for the other people in this small camp that they had. How many
It's
people
really
are
good.
there?
As you look around and people have sort of come out, there's about 6 figures still remaining. There's a couple of like big humans, one like large orcish man, another what looks to be the same beast folk, cow folk, cattle folk. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. Cattle folk man that helped you guys load your hand wagon. Some big tough guys, you know.
Frank will look at the Goliath and say, "With the help of the rest, shouldn't take us too long."
Well, come on. You're practically their boss now. Go tell them what to do. He says to Frank.
So Frank will stand up and stop tinkering for a second and start bossing them around. Just go, you there, you grab onto that, you grab onto, and then just kind of all get them to mobilize and get the cart first as closely to the locomotives as possible, and then just kind of take it off the tracks, slowly move it behind, and then put it back.
Yeah. As
Yeah.
he's organized everyone, John would run over into the locomotive and open the glass door and peek his head inside and say, "Aslan, we need your strength. But we need to. There's a cart in front of the train that we need to move. Frank is
What,
overlooking
just
it. Can you
Aslan?
help us?"
You can hear Frank as he's shouting at the rest.
Yeah.
You could just say, "Ask Lula and Saul too. Everybody, come on! More people, better, quicker it gets."
I guess he wants all hands on deck. Come on, everyone.
Okay, hang on. Hang on. I just want to check on Fake Fumble. Cause the stuff was kind of hard.
Don't give him any potions.
Soul took them from me.
Can I ask what time of day it is right now?
It's like after midnight. It's as you look
Okay, so it's-
look to the skies, you see the first glimmers of like light pale blue on the horizon of dawn approaching soon.
Okay.
You find Saul
So
sulking
what-
behind a boulder
So
nearby.
So wait, Lula was checking on Feck Fumble. How is he?
Yeah, Vic Bumble's fine. He was jolted a little bit, but he seems to still be unconscious and in the position where you left him.
All right. Lula's gonna make sure that blanket is on top of him, and then he's gonna go outside.
Lula's famous blankie.
Saul will sheepishly follow Lula to help with the train chores.
Yeah. Where do you come from?
He shrugs.
You can see Frank just like glances and look at Saul as he's like ordering everybody around to do stuff. He's not physically doing anything. He's just telling everyone what to do.
Right.
And then once it's in place, he'll connect it together with Aslan again, where he puts it in place and then connects it.
They
Yeah.
get the jack on, and the Goliath man goes, "All right, lads, 1, 2, 3," and then two guys take that side, and they get the jack on the other side, and everybody lifts and training. Thing, move it to the back of the thing, and even the Goliath, you can see his huge muscles just rippling and bulging, and they just and 1, all right, watch your toes. This thing into place. It's loud in the night.
All right. As soon as it's into place and Frank has like connected them and whatever, he'll like continue on and quickly finish all of his mending stuff.
You can get the rest of it done in a couple minutes. But you're still about 20, 30 feet in front of the train. Or are you by yourself? Actually, no, that's like in the middle of the camp. So everybody's busy like running and packing things up and trying to move things out of the way and load them onto the hand carriage. Never mind, sorry.
Saul is going to be perched on top of the train with the lantern lit, keeping an eye out for scorpions.
With that natural 20, I'll let you keep it from before.
Okay.
You don't see any scorpions, but you definitely see shifting sand all around you guys.
Yeah, scorpions.
Yeah, like I said, scorpions.
You guys, for those that will see, you guys can notice that after this loud clanging noise that we made earlier with the putting in place of the carts, you can see that Frank is a little bit quicker with his tinkering than before, with his mending than before.
I'd like to test something.
Knowing damn well what a loud sound in the middle of the night could do.
Can I pick up like a stone and like toss it out in the sand and see if the shifting sand goes in the direction of it, like fucking Dune or something?
Well, you can, but there isn't a stone on top of the train.
I'll just take a piece off the train.
You want to try and find a loose piece of train.
No, I'm gonna do that. No, I'll get down. I'll get down from the train and just find something. You know,
You can find like a rock.
I probably still
You
have
can
some.
actually probably what you'll likely find is a straight rib bone sticking out of the sand.
Yeah, no, I'll reach down. I'll grab a couple of bones, head back up there, and I'll try to toss a bone out and see if the sand will shift in the direction where it hits, and to see if that works.
As you go lower and you've lost your sense of angle now, are you getting back on the top before you throw the bones? Just to clarify, yeah.
Yeah.
You throw it out, and the bone lands in the sand, and the shifting stops for a second. And then slowly you see shifting again, like almost in a circle. And then two of the lines starting to shift, approach closer. And then
So
all
it's
at once, and two forms emerge out of the sand, and the skeleton and the scorpion bounce into each other. And then noticing that there's nothing, quickly scramble to like get underneath the sand again.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be, while everyone's doing what they need to do, I'm going to be using the bones that I collected as well as the glow sticks that I got from earlier to just keep these bastards distracted for a little while.
You have about 2 glow sticks, but sure, you can do it.
Okay,
Can you do it long enough for Frank to finish his tinkering?
that's the idea. Is to just kind of draw it out, just keep
Oh,
them away
yeah.
from people that are.
What Saul notices especially is Frank will like finish a section, then move on, and then as the tinking sound starts again, you know, the hammer striking on the thing, the sand shifts closer towards that direction, as if the vibrations from the train tracks being repaired seem to attract it. And then you throw another bone, and they go for the bone. And then you throw another one, they go for the bone, but inching ever closer towards Frank. What are you gonna
And I'll
do?
be kind of slowly shifting my way towards the front of the train, so I'm closer towards him, just in case they come out.
Okay.
And if Lula's nearby, I'll try to wave her down and point in that direction so she knows.
Lula, Saul is waving frantically at you.
Well, before that happened, before any of that happened, I wanted to speak to Aslan, just to the side, and ask him a very personal question. Did that healing potion I give him actually work? I need to know, personally.
Say it in character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is.
All right. Hey, Aslan, I got a question for you. Would you mind answering it?
What is it?
Look, you remember that healing potion I gave you a while back?
Yes.
Be frank with me. Did it actually help you, or did it hurt you? I need to know.
Initially, big shock on my body, and left nipple can't feel. So much pain. Yeah.
Yeah, gosh. Okay.
Was that the purpose?
I mean, no.
If so, it worked.
Oh God. Oh heavens. Oh no. I see. Oh God. Lula puts a hand on his shoulder, and both hands on his. Well, tries to at the very least. Maybe arms out here. It's pretty big, and looks up to him and says, "I'm so sorry about that. It didn't mean. I didn't want to hurt you. I wanted to heal you, but oh God, I'm so sorry. I really am."
It's okay. No pain, no gain.
You see, that's what I thought until I swallowed liquid death. But I'll make sure in the future, the next time I give you one, it's gonna be a hell of a lot better. And she's gonna disengage from Aslan, and then she's gonna notice Saul like.
Yeah,
So
you see him toss a phone out.
he's been waving for a minute trying to get your attention as you
Yeah,
have this conversation.
He's looking really. He looks very stressed out.
Saul, what's up? Why are you so stressed?
He tosses a bone out. You see it land a couple yards from Frank.
Uh-huh.
Every time he
And then
throws
as
the
you see
bone,
it land, like, maybe 10 feet from Frank, you see two clippers just emerge, and one goes and pulls the bone underneath the sand.
Oh, heavens above, those bastards again. Are they going after Frank?
how close is Frank to finishing?
You have like a meter of track left to lay.
So I wanted to say that John not really being strong or burly, he wouldn't really be helping with the lifting of the cart, and knowing of the scorpions, he probably would stand closer to Frank to watch his back while he does his thing.
Well, what you notice is the scorpions shifting closer to you too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. John would say, Frank, can you go a little faster?
I'm going as fast as I can. Dunk, 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 dunk.
Frank,
you
they're coming, Frank.
You can
Scorpions,
see that
Frank.
is definitely
You remember
in a hurry.
those, right?
And you can just see him like frantically dunk, 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 dunk.
I'm gonna.
Frank, he says,
now that
beginning to
they're-
lower his shades.
Now that they're closer, I'm gonna throw one bone and then basically ready a Kinsei shot, so I can take a pot shot at one of these guys as they come up, and hopefully
Okay.
scare them off.
Lula's gonna collect her own bones and start like fucking confetti throwing the bones all over the place. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Just trying to frantically copy what Saul's doing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
As you throw a bone, and this was a slightly bigger one, maybe like a couple of vertebrae still attached together, and it sinks into the sand slowly, and then from it, one of these creatures like emerges out. Two clippers coming, striking at where the bone landed. You can take your Kensei shot.
Cool.
So Frank would notice these bones being thrown, right? And that these things are going after the bones.
Give me a Tinker's Tool check, please.
Now,
As well. Like, you keep saying what you're saying, but while you're doing it, please.
I know this
okay,
is
hold
a
on.
big ask. Would I get advantage since I'm like kind of tricking them and drawing them out, or no?
You have anything else that gives you advantage?
No.
Well,
Convince me, come on.
Well, I would say Lula is using her action to help him with whatever he's doing, right? She's helping create more distractions and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's fair. How badly did
Notice-
you roll? You can have advantage. Frank, tell me what's up.
Notice. So Frank would try and like time his hits with these bones. Like
Alright,
when
I
these
got it.
bones get thrown, he like does it more just when they're trying to do it when they're distracted. Jesus Christ. If I remember correctly, my Tinker's
Efficiency
Tools
and
is a plus-
intelligence.
Yeah, that's +5 in total. So then I rolled a 14 in total because I rolled a 9 plus 5 is 14.
Nice, gotcha. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. You're tinking away, trying to do it in time with the bones. Saul, what you saying?
I got, thanks to the advantage, I got a natural 20 and did a total of 17 points of damage with my Kensei shot.
God damn.
Nice. Oh wow, you got double ones on your Kensei bonus damage.
Yeah, but hell, I'll take it.
That's disappointing. But anyway, you guys still hear as the shot echoes out in the night, and then as this creature's carapace shatters.
Your microphone isn't picking it up sometimes, the sound effects. I don't know if it needs to be closer to your mouth or
It's because of the crisp, but it's yeah.
Oh, heard. Never mind then.
Yeah, my bad. It's okay. The gunshot goes off. Like, did they catch that one up that time?
Yeah, sad.
God
No.
damn it. Okay. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Growing pains, and it cracks the creature's carapace, like shattering it. This thing immediately dives back into the sand and tries to make its escape, and rolls a natural 3.
Nice shot there, Saul.
It's only about 15 feet from Frank.
Yeah, at this point, John would start shooting it too.
So I started blasting.
Yeah, and so I did
It's
start
Frank.
blasting.
Is
And
Frank
so I
done
started
yet?
beaming.
I don't see so good, so I missed.
Hmm.
Is it just a regular roll, or would he have advantage also?
No, you just have a regular roll.
Okay.
Connor will just
He would
start
go-
asking for advantage for everything.
I just really
Right.
wanted a Tuesday shot to land for once.
He says,
I hear you.
"Oh, it's almost here. Hero top!" And then he would fire a beam towards it.
Goes off the
And-
gunshot, and then
It would streak along the ground trying to hit it.
in the darkness of the night, two green beams streaking like a techno show. Do you hit it? How much damage do you do?
I do 9 force damage.
9 force damage. This creature, as it's scrabbling to, you see like another piece of its carapace, and you just hear a very satisfying crunch. And it's scrambling. It's trying to get away, and it seems that the shifting sands have somewhat stopped as this creature's scrambling have sent a different vibration into them. Simultaneously, the work crew is now scrambling to get onto the cart, and you can hear the large Goliath man like shouting, "All right, boys, load up! Come on, boys, come on, lads!"
Is Frank done yet?
With your 14 Tinker's tools, you're about to be.
Okay.
Yay.
Because I have something I want to do, but I'm waiting till it's done.
I guess at this point, people would just periodically see beams shooting out from the front of over by where Frank and John is.
The creature was able to get away that time. It disappeared into the sand.
No, I know, but he begins shooting like into any sand that he can see shifting. He would just like
Shifting.
shoot at it,
Gotcha.
trying to hold them
Anyways,
off and
I
dissuade
started-
them.
I started blasting.
Gotcha. All right, so Frank, what do you want to do?
So, as Frank finally finishes, this man will take a sprint back to the locomotive and try and start it up and get it going. And he just says, "All aboard! Those who aren't on will get left behind." As he just fires it up
So-
and puts it in motion.
So as Frank like runs past him, John turns back and shoots one last time before he turns around and chases after him. And frantically hops up on the train.
Chuk. Lula, I don't know where you are. Aslan, I don't know where you are. Chuk.
Okay.
Lula
is
The train starts moving.
Okay.
Chuk.
Lula waits until the last person gets on, and she gets on too.
Chuk. Aslan, what are you doing?
We're in. I'm in. He hopped into the cart.
Yeah, Saul's getting on the train if he's not on there already.
I thought you were on the top still.
Yeah, I thought so too, but be sure.
And the train pulls itself once again to full pace. And as light starts to break along the horizon, you once again start moving, seemingly escaping whatever hunted you.
John rushes over and sits in the chair in the locomotive. Because I imagine it's really cramped. There's a lot of people right there right now. He wants to reserve a space
I
for
bel-
himself.
I'm pretty sure that's where Frank is sitting on, because it's the chauffeur's
Well,
chair.
Frank can say something.
Frank is probably
Frank-
sitting there driving.
Yeah, he's already sitting there, is what I'm saying, because he's the one
Well,
driving
no.
the thing.
Oh, okay, heard. Because I was gonna say like he would go and sit on the chair like as soon as they went to the locomotive, since he's a little bit faster than Frank.
I'm sorry.
And then Frank will come in and he's sitting on it, but Frank would be like, I suppose.
you could
then-
just see Frank looking at you and go.
Just like, there's no time. Sit in my lap.
You can see Frank just kind of moving the controls around before, and then he just like turns around and get out of my seat, and then he.
Ugh, damn it. He would get out.
Frank would go sit in the seat. You can see that Frank has a little bag that he like that he like inflates and goes and sits on and to be the right height.
With that, the train chugs on, and the sun rises. And as it does, another clear blue sky over the beautiful plains as you recognize them. You go from the desert and the harsh sandy dunes to the scrubland and thorny bushland of the plains that approach Tenton, you know, the occasional plains and little thickets of trees and bushes, and the occasional like tree and whatever around what could be a pool or maybe like riverbeds that seem to be running now that there's a bit of moisture in the air. And as you do, you slowly chug towards Tenton, finally getting closer and closer towards it. And as you get closer and closer towards it, Frank notices there's another train on the rail in the other direction as he gets closer, and he might
Like
want to think about.
on the same rail.
Yep.
Great.
Oh, he would like start flashing the lights and like pull the brake.
The train's stationary. It's not getting out of your way.
Yeah, but he's still like flashing lights for
Signaling,
whoever's
gotcha, yeah.
signaling himself,
Yeah.
you know.
You see like a small figure, like a little rail box, you know, and he pulls the top of his body out the rail box. He's like waving his hand frantically, like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And you hear him shout like, "Rah, rah, 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 rah," but he's too far away to like, and then you hear him like disappear back into the rail box.
Yeah.
Oh, not
No, Frank
again.
would try and stop the train before hitting the other one. Even pulling the emergency brake if he has to, but I don't know if we're far enough for him just to.
You're good enough. You can slow it down in time. This is not the first time you've done this. And you're able to bring the train to a satisfying halt. At which point, a small figure stepping out of the train box, a figure that you recognize, gets up and he goes, "Yes, what the hell do you think you are doing?"
Recognize from where exactly?
Krill?
A
Was it
small
Krill his name?
Grin. It's a small
Grin.
one-eared goblin.
It's Weegin's assistant.
We're
We're back.
Frank was like really confused for a second. He goes, "Oh, yeah,
We're
that
back.
guy."
We brought Mr. Weegin's train.
He goes, "Yes, I can see that, but how can I help you? What are you saying?"
Oh my god.
He's like he cocks his one ear towards you as you guys are all shouting from the top of the train, and like now the guys in the back start to talk and there's a little bit of commotion.
No, well, once we're stopped, John would definitely just jump off the train and approach him.
Are we like
Okay.
in 1010 right now, or
You guys are on the outskirts of Tenton, south side.
okay? And we would want to have this train like to a predetermined location, right? We need to go a little further than this.
Yeah, but you're like close enough that you brought it back.
I mean, I imagine it counts, but beyond that, there's another train on the rail, so it's not like we can do anything about that.
Yeah.
You can,
Well,
It
this
can-
is
it
the
can be
stop where the
moved.
trains turn around and go back the other way, basically, as they
gotcha.
don't proceed any further south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it kind of like a rail yard?
Yeah. So this is like a bigger stop. There's where the main rail goes, and it breaks off into two as it gets to the station. And then also, as you go south further from Tenton, you guys are about. This is where the box is that the figure stepped out of, and you guys are a couple, like maybe 50 meters from there. That's where the rail line breaks into two like that as it goes south. And just a little bit behind you, there's another one that connects, like a ring that connects those two rails so that a train can either turn around or one coming from that side can turn around and go that way.
Heard.
Yeah.
Well, is this good enough? Shall we leave Mr. Weegin's locomotive here?
He like looks at the train and goes, yes, it will do.
All right. Well, good morning to you, Kryn. Do you know where Mr. Weegin is? So we can report to him?
He should be in office. Let me go check. I will organize meeting. Maybe get he looks at the rest of you and he sees like as you guys unpile out of the things, he goes, let me deal with this one. The rest of you go and get breakfast. Mr. Hill, what are you doing? And he goes up to to the Goliath man.
Mr. Hill, you're Mr. Hill?
The Goliath man like looks at you. Well, you never asked my name, did you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad. Well, either way, I'm glad we've come across you. Your wife, she's worried sick about you. Why haven't you written to her?
He goes, what you know about my wife?
Oh, no, oh God! It's not that way. It's not that way, sir.
Well, we visited her ranch. One of the deputies that was searching for the professor here, he had gotten wounded, and the porcupine tribe took him to her so that she could look after him, look after his injuries. We went there to question the man, but upon speaking with her, she ended up saying something about how if we saw you, to let you know to send word to her that she's been worried about you. She
He
doesn't
gives you
know where
like
you are or when you're coming back or if you're coming back.
he gives you like a little bit of half smile. He goes, you went to the Running River Ranch. How's my home looking?
You have a little less crops than you
gonna
had
hide
before.
somewhere.
You can see Frank just kind of like not be a part of this conversation.
Well,
He says,
it's well defended. I can say that much.
yeah, he
He gives you a
says
confused look. He
you've
goes,
lost some
what
of
do
your
you
harvest.
mean? What do you mean?
Up to you guys.
Well, I suppose you should know, but we were attacked in the night, and some people, they set fire to some of your crops, and they had some wild pigs trample your harvest. And then they almost killed me. My friend Saul here, he would say, gesturing to Saul. But fortunately, they made away. But your wife is unharmed, or at least she was when we left. But she's a capable woman. I'm sure she's still
He's
fine.
like scratching his head, confused at your story. It's a lot of information to process all at once for his obnoxiously large brain, which you imagine if you shook his head, it would sound like a pea in a jar. Like ding 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 ding
Yeah,
ding ding.
it
It would
rattles.
rattle. And he
We
goes,
made her some
no.
nice bacon. You can hear Frank
Ooms.
from a distance.
"You mean my home's being attacked? I need to go look after my wife. My home's being attacked."
Yes, I think you should.
Kryn goes, "No, Tovarish. I'm sure they exaggerate."
No, I'm afraid we do not. This is the truth. Your wife could use your help.
Kryn gives you like an angry look, and he goes, "Now, if you stop pestering the people, perhaps we must go and talk to Mr. Egan, yes?"
Okay. Can't hear you.
I'm trying to get my accent right because I keep fucking it up.
Sounds good to me.
Don't
He's like,
stress. Don't stress.
yes, come with me, please. And then he looks at the Goliath. He goes, "Mr. Hill, please do your job."
Yeah, John wanted to say anything further.
And he starts leading you away towards where Mr. Egan's office is.
John looks like crap. He hasn't taken a bath in days. Been
You
in a
all
lot
look
of
like crap.
fights.
Frank
Yeah.
looks surprisingly well. You have a feeling he may have prestidigitations himself at some point when you guys weren't looking. he looks pretty good.
Yeah. And then you can begin to see, green whiskers begin to grow from his face, though not a lot. Being a half health, and some of it is a little bit caked with blood over his lip, like dried up blood that he tried wiping before, but he missed a bit since he doesn't have a mirror or anything. So yeah, he looks haggard and disheveled as they walk towards the office.
Kryn will lead you guys inside, and he'll say, "Would you like a coffee? Maybe a stiffer drink? It's a bit early though." And you see him like go to like a little thing where there's tea, coffee, like some boiled water, but then there's also some whiskey and some some ale and what looks like some fine wine.
Frank will point at the whiskey and say, "I'll have one of those."
Yes, please. I
Whiskey,
would like
whiskey,
some
whiskey.
coffee
Make it a-
with whiskey. I'll take that.
Make it a double, actually.
I'm ready for it.
Whiskey.
He will pour the 3 whiskeys and then he'll look at Aslan and at Saul.
Saul will
With him.
gesture to the bottle.
He'll pour you another one and hand it to you.
He'll reach for the bottle.
You take the whole bottle.
Yeah.
Green goes, it's still a bit early, comrade. Perhaps one for now. And he pours you one and forcibly hands you the glass.
So John wouldn't drink his shot. He would go over to the counter where all the drinks are, and then he would pour himself a coffee. I imagine it's still warm because it's early-ish in the morning, right?
Grin doesn't let you do that. He's like, please,
Oh.
please, I will do.
Okay. Coffee, please.
He starts brewing you a coffee.
And
Seems
he
to
just
me
holds
it's
his
done
shot
in
in his
some sort of
hands while he waits.
fine gnomish coffee brewing machinery. Is Aslan
has
saying
been-
anything?
Oh, man.
Do you have milk?
He looks at you like a bit perplexed. He goes, milk. It can be done. One moment, please. And then as he leaves the coffee to boil, he'll go like into a back room in the office, and he like you see him as he's doing it, and he pulls out what looks like a small little container. He like unscrews it, and then like he unclips it first, and then unscrews it. And walks back over and pours you a glass of milk.
Heck yeah.
What do I have to visualize when thinking about this office? Is there somewhere to sit?
It's the same as last time. It's a very messy office with like one big desk and a chair and a raised chair behind it, and 2 chairs in front of it, and that's it. So there's 2 chairs for people to sit in if they'd like to. And then what Kryn has brought through to the office is a small little like cart that seems to have a bunch of little things on it.
Okay. Frank would just go and sit in one of the chairs and sip his whiskey.
Once John is given his coffee, he would take his shot of whiskey and pour it into it, and then he would just swirl it around.
Can I have another
They call that a
shot, please?
dwarvish coffee. So what did Lula say? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can I have another shot? It tastes nice, I guess.
Miss. Oh, and then he like looks at like the blood all over you guys or whatever. He goes, okay, and then he pours you all another shot.
Yeah.
Frank would just like be drinking it. I'm assuming it's pretty good, right?
It's
I have no idea.
definitely not the best stuff.
Hmm.
It definitely seems to be like it's good enough to host guests, but it's not like the bottle that he keeps in his desk drawer, you know.
Yeah, I
Gotcha.
get you.
Yeah.
Frank would drink a little bit and go, not bad. From what year is it?
I believe it is 98.
Could be worse. He says as he just sips it more.
From
I'll
the
take
capital.
whatever's given.
From the capital, it is the Oak Brown.
I'll take anything that's given, John says as he pours the shot into his mug, and then he swirls it around and then takes it a whiff, and he goes,
So you guys hear a shout. You hear a door opening first. Slam. Kryn! Kryn, where the fuck are you, you wee bastard? And you see Kryn sit there for a second, and he looks around and she goes, is there anything else?
nothing but to
Kryn!
speak to the man.
Kryn, you wee bastard, where are you at? And then he waits another second. And then he walks, coming, I am coming, boss. Kryn
That is
leaves.
surprisingly calm for being shouted at.
Goblins, man. They just like pushing people's buttons.
You guys hear some muffled talks from the other side. Kryn comes back and he goes, "It will be a minute. Just 1 moment, please." And then he closes the door, and then you hear some slightly louder, muffled conversation from the other side of the door. And then you hear some of Mr. Weejan's swearing and cursing and cussing, and it gets a bit louder and a bit louder and a bit heated for a second. And then after a second, it seems to calm down. And Mr. Weejan slams through the door and he goes, "Aye, sorry about that. Now, I heard you got a bit of a story for me, but please do be brief. There's a lot going on. You got the train back, and then he looks around, and I'm assuming
Yeah, I was gonna ask where
Where's
Mr.
the
Crackbumble
professor?
is.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was just thinking
I was
about
gonna
that.
ask. I was
In the
thinking about it,
train.
but I was like gonna let you finish first. But where did he come with us on this?
I mean,
on this.
did he wake up
as
or
far as
no?
I know, guys, he's still asleep in the train.
No, if
Yeah,
he was
same.
asleep, we would definitely bring him with us.
Okay, I wish someone had said that. Aslan, are you carrying him? Lula, are you carrying him?
I can carry him. Wait, Aslan?
Saul, are your skinny arms carrying him?
No, that's not my job, man.
Frank is definitely not carrying him.
Okay, Aslan and Lula are carrying him. Let's say that.
Yeah, Frank
He's
would
a
definitely order
gnome.
one of you two to
Doesn't
carry
matter.
him though.
He's a gnome. I think one of you can carry him easily.
He's in my pocket.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What?
Goes, I see you got that wee bastard back. And my train. Well, good job to you. And as promised, your contract will be fulfilled. And he produces a small chest made of plain wood and opens it up, containing in a bunch of shiny and not so shiny gold coins.
Mhm.
But wait,
Okay.
Mr. Weejan, there's more. Something concerning. Something about the tunnels.
Aye, what is it then?
We've come across monstrosities within the tunnels. Horrors I've never even heard described. They had tentacles, and they would attack our minds and brains, giving us headaches as they try to kill and strangle us. A thing of nightmares. I used some sort of spell or power to make some kind of connection with one of the creature's minds, and I saw that it was part of a greater evil growing within the mountain, spreading throughout the land.
As you're saying, this, his eyebrow is getting increasingly cocked.
So how much gold is it exactly?
500 as stated on the contract, but that's not important. Continue with what you're saying. But you notice that the more you're talking, the more dubious he's looking at you like.
Aslan will tug on John's coat and tell him about the deputy.
Ah, yes. Even before we got to the tunnels, we came across some of the people of the Porcupine tribe, and they told us of one of your missing people, the deputy that was accompanying the sheriff before he had his accident, if you can call it that. And he was staying over by Mrs. Suzanne Hill's ranch, and we went there to visit him and question him. And he spoke to us, saying that he had also been attacked by strange flying lights in the sky, releasing pulsating energy. And he said that he couldn't really explain it much, but he ended up falling back asleep. And throughout the night, we were attacked, and some type of masked figure with great magic power and magic weapons. It was even invisible somehow, as it struck us, nearly killing me and my friend Saul. As he gestures to the older cowboy, and he says, "Unfortunately, he made off with the deputy. He kidnapped him."
Aye, okay. That's a tall tale you got there, friend. But
What, you don't think I'm telling you the truth? You think all of us here are lying? Why would we lie about this? Even Mrs. Suzanne Hill can confirm what I'm saying, if you know of her.
I don't. But okay. even if all of this is true, the deputy's of no concern to me. You got my train back, and you tell me that you fought some creatures in the tunnel. Did you get rid of them?
No, there's too many, and there's one more massive creature that it seems to be entrenched within the entire mountain, hovering
We
above
got
it and,
some of them.
and around the pyramid within the tunnels, if you know of it.
For the first time, he seems to take what you're saying seriously, and puts his hand and starts stroking his long, luscious dwarven beard.
And he says,
Oh,
as I
I
probed it, I could make some sense of it. It's not really a living thing, but it's not really a living creature, but more of a living weapon.
What were you saying, Frank?
Frank was saying, like, we killed some of them.
So you're saying I can't start construction again?
Not within the
until you get rid of
tunnels.
them.
Yes, not yet at least.
He seemed very perturbed by you saying this,
He
and
says,
he immediately sinks back
Mr.
into
Ouija.
himself. He goes,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
okay. He sinks back into himself and he goes, "Aye, okay."
I think you should notify the Bluecoats. This is a matter of national risk for the colony,
He chuckles a little
or
bit.
a colonial risk.
You could see some disgust in Frank's face as John mentions the Bluecoats.
But we need to bring in the army. Anything. The wizards, the maids guild, the traders. We need to let everyone know.
Bring in the cavalry.
Okay, aye. And what
Or
do you think the
someone, at
damn
least.
Bluecoats are gonna do?
I'm sorry. Finish what you were saying?
Oh, he chuckles a little bit and he's like, "Oh, aye. And what do you think the damn Bluecoats are gonna do?"
Well, something at least. At least they could go in there with a regiment and help us eradicate those things. Do you have any other
Okay.
suggestions to solve your issue?
He says, okay. Hold your horses. I'll look into it. For now, take your money and perhaps keep your tall tale to yourself.
Fine, I shall. Look, I know we signed that contract, and I will keep this in secret. I can be discreet, but we must do something about this. And if you won't, I shall. Even
gives
if
you a
it
proper
isn't
look.
telling everyone.
He gives you a proper look. He goes, "I hope you can."
Saul's gonna take the money and leave.
You're gonna take the whole box?
Yeah.
You guys just see Soul pick up the box and just start walking out.
Yeah, that's fine. John would
Frank would stop him and say something along the lines of, "We all get equal share, big boy."
He nods and he walks out.
And you could see Frank going along with him.
Yeah, John
Yeah.
would see him leave, sparing Saul a glance, and then he would look back to Mr. Ouija with the same grave look, and he would say, "We'll be in touch, Mr. Ouija. Thank you."
Oh, aye, we will. I might have further need of your services yet, so don't go far, yeah?
We shan't.
See you soon, Mr. Ouija. And as Frank just leaves.
And
Thank
he
you for
says,
the milk.
and he says, if you ever have struggle finding us, I will contact you. He says with the bob of his head, and as he says this, like a streak of green flashes across his eye, like a sheen. Shing.
Ding.
Real
I
quick.
like it. As Frank is saying this, as he walks out, Mr. Ouija goes, "Aye, take a long weekend. I'll see you Monday."
Thank you.
It's Friday morning.
Yeah.
I think. Let me double
Was
check.
it Monday
Yeah, it's
or,
Friday
or
morning.
Moon Day?
Moon Day.
Moon day.
Noonday.
That's what I said, but I tried to say it with his accent as well, so I kind of
Okay.
messed it up anyway. Monday. Monday.
When you're doing an accent
Monday.
and the word is slightly
Moon
different,
day?
it just reverts back to the regular
The
Monday.
original word, yeah. It's kind of annoying.
It's like, two negatives become a positive. It's just
True.
still the original.
I'm not a professional here, guys. I'm just trying, okay? Monday.
We're all having fun.
Monday. And with that, he sort of tips his head as you guys all walk out. He goes, "Aye, Mr. Whitestone, Mr. Morello, Miss Lula. And then he looks, he goes, Master Aslan. Good day to you then.
Thank you.
Good day.
Good day.
You guys all walk out into the still
yeah.
bustling streets of Tenton. Is there anything you want to do? Sorry,
Yeah,
what were you saying?
I want to follow Saul.
I want to
Saul's
get my
headed-
part of the money.
Saul-
He would run up to him, looking at the box in his hand. So, how do we make out? He says, rubbing his hands together.
Wow.
I could really use a warm meal. It's been a while. It's been one heck of a couple nights.
Yeah.
Saul nods and walks on towards the post office.
You guys still have your companion carrying the gnome.
Professor?
Yeah.
Oh shit. We keep forgetting about him.
You guys keep forgetting about a lot of things. Hence the robot still being stuck in the cave.
do you know where the professor's brother lives?
The
engineer?
Maybe it says so on the missing poster. If Diego wants to put that up in the stream.
Don't know if I still have that.
It should be in the Discord still. But as you glide and you look to the small print on the bottom of the page, you see a small thing like any news can be brought to the Silken Splendor.
So Frank would definitely want to stop Saul from moving on and say, I would like to have my payment before you go on with your wherever you're going.
John was saying.
He looks around the busy street skeptically.
Yeah, John would say, "Not here. This is a lot of coinage. We should find somewhere more private."
While you
And
guys are doing
he would
that, I
continue
will
walking.
return Fake Fumble.
So Lula starts. Where are you returning him to? You definitely don't have the post, and you definitely haven't read it.
Just leave him in the street.
No.
A lot of money to leave lying in the street.
Yeah, I see the poster, but there's nothing about the Silken Road in it.
It's on the back.
Oh, on the back. Yeah, but well, John has the poster. He would pull it out of his coat, unfold it, and like look the paper over to see where they're supposed to go.
You'll read that any information can be brought to the Silken.
Yeah, he says, it says right here we can bring him to the Silken Splendor. Lula. His brother's in the Silken Splendor, I think. You can bring him there.
Yeah, you're loud and clear. Let's
go
go.
over it. Change course for the Silken Splendor.
Yeah, let's go to the Silken Splendor then. Let's go. Let's go return this little fakey boy.
You guys make your way into the Silken Splendor through the bustled, packed streets of Tenton, and as you get down, you see the familiar twin half-elven barkeeps running a tight service. Like it's not even the middle of the day. It's maybe 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's packed. And people are drinking, and people are drunk. They will look over to you like carrying a figure, standing behind the bar, like a little bit perturbed, like doing, but then quickly get back to work, waiting for you to come over because you know that there's no waiters here. You order from the bar.
Well, I guess we approach the bar with Fake Fumble in tow, and we speak. Luda says to them, "Well, we got some good news for you. We found Fake Fumble."
So the brother of the twins will look at you and goes, "Oh, for sure, okay. There's a patron that'll be happy about that. Maybe." And he like looks around to his sister. Goes, "I'm a bit busy here, but try and take him to room number 4." And then he points at like the top of the stairs. You guys notice as you walk down the stairs, come across, and there's some rooms at the top on another set of stairs, and there's big numbers on them that you guys can see.
Thank you. We'll do that.
Nah.
And we go. Let's assume we go to room number 4.
Nobody else wants to say anything else to him. He'll get on with his work, start polishing glasses and filling them. You make your way up.
Frank
Yeah.
would order a drink.
Before we get through the door, Saul's gonna raise his hand to stop everyone, and he's gonna hold his ear to the door, try to listen in, see if he hears anything.
John would hold his breath, suddenly feeling tense.
You hear a very faint grk, 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 grk of a wrench.
Okay.
It's not the sound effect I thought you were doing.
Yeah, that's all there is, and he'll just knock on the door.
Hi, okay, coming. And a small familiar figure wearing a raggedy leather apron that seems to be just covered in splotches, not even wearing a shirt, got some like boxer pants on, basically like, hi, sorry, you caught me a bit of how can I help you?
Yeah, step back and gesture towards the Tefek Femble in Aslan's arms.
In Lula's arms. I think Lula's carrying him, right?
Oh, is Lula carrying him now? My mistake.
It depends. Alternate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoever's carrying, let's just say Lula for now. He looks at like the bundled figure in Lula's arms, like not quite getting it.
Lula reveals the bundle figure to him.
We have
Archie,
your brother.
Archie, is that my brother? And he like runs towards you, like, Archie, are you okay? Is he okay?
He is alive. Yes, we
He-
managed to
he-
get him. But John,
Oh, thank you. And he's just like hugging his brother's like still unconscious body, tears streaming down. Archie, and like cradling him as he rocks him back and forth.
Frank would like to like kind of as this interaction is going on and just kind of touch Mr. Fick Fumble again and just say he'll be all right as he casts healing or cure wounds again to get this man awake for this precious moment.
Have you had a long rest?
No, I've had a short rest, but I have one spell slot left.
Busted.
I thought you used it already.
You
So you
No,
cast Cure Wounds.
I had two at the start of this session. I have used one for cure wounds.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm out of spell slots.
No, you're out of spell slots. Archie goes, and he looks at his brother. He goes, Art, is that you? And his tears start streaming down his face as one of the two brothers embrace each other there in front of you, and like the crowded packed hallway, and you guys sort of like standing over them as these two brothers, both crying, like embrace each other in their arms.
This is a relief, at least.
Saul's gonna unhook the lantern from his belt and put it on like a nearby nightstand, and then slowly back out of the room to leave.
You guys are standing like in the doorway now. Okay, so as you like move through, he goes, what? Okay, please, I owe you money. Like, if you give me one moment, just and like you can see him like, Archie, are you okay? And his brother like nods his head. And he goes, yeah, I think so. And he goes, just go lay down. And then he's like, please, go to the bar. Everything. It's on. Tell them to put it on my tab. It's all on me. And then he goes to like the little railing that's on the side and like pokes his face through the railing. And goes, Nadia, these folks, their tab is on me. Okay.
You can see a little bit of a smile on Frank's face as he hears that the tab is on him.
Yeah, John looks relieved as well.
He goes, let me sort out the money. And then he like rushes into his room and he goes, 1 second. And he pulls out, opens a drawer and he grabs a small like little pouch out of his drawer. And he hands you, goes, it's only 100, but I have more. I just need to get it out the safe. Okay, if you wait at the bar, I'll be with you shortly. Please.
Do you mind if we?
Look,
Frank will gladly take this first batch of gold that
Hold
he's
on.
giving us.
no.
Saul's gonna take it.
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
Frank
let's
is the
bring-
one who got the other guy
To-
up, so Frank would definitely accept his money.
That's fair enough.
Do you mind if we keep this? He would say, pointing to the magical lantern that Saul set up on the table for them.
RT looks over. Mr. Feckfumble looks over at Dr. Feckfumble. He goes, Archie, do you mind if these folks keep it? He like looks back at you and he goes, if you promise to help me get AI back.
He looks to the group and he says, "What do you think, friends?"
Definitely. We're going back.
Then he would look to Frank.
You can see Frank just holding this bag of coins, kind of like looking inside of it, and he just, as he's looking at it, he just goes, "I ain't going back in that tunnel." As he like continues inside the bag.
So Saul's gonna kind of pat Frank's shoulder with the kind of the back of his fingers and like kind of make the grabby motion for the coin bag.
Frank would not give it to you. Frank's like,
Ah,
"We split that money, and we'll split this money." Huh?
He furrows his brow and makes a show of holding the chest of gold over his head out of Frank's reach.
Yeah. He's like, "We share that. We share this. Yeah. Huh?"
He nods, but he makes another grabby motion.
He goes, if you'll help my brother, you can have the lamp.
In fact, he'll offer the chest in exchange for the pouch of gold.
Frank will make that exchange.
He's gonna take the pouch. He's gonna count out 20 gold pieces. He said it was 100. He's gonna count out 20, hand it back to the guy.
You guys are doing
Nod
this
to
like
the
while
two.
sitting in the room. He goes, "Please let me talk to my brother. Just wait at the bar."
He takes the lantern and leaves.
Okay.
John says, "Look, we can split this later. We don't need the coin right now. The tabs is on our good friend here. Come, let's give them their privacy."
Please, whatever you want. Food, drink, it's on me.
Are there whores in this town?
oh god, forgot about that.
Aye. And you'll get the best ones here. On me as well, I promise.
You're so generous, thank you.
You can see Frank at the mention of horrors. He just looks. Just women or also men?
He goes, "Whatever you like. It's on me. I can't thank you enough. Please, just let me speak to my brother. I haven't seen him in days.
Okay.
A week. I'll meet you at the bar. No longer than 30 minutes, please. I promise."
Okay.
Frank will nod, put the chest into his pocket, and go downstairs and order like a bottle, just a straight up bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to
Yeah.
do anything else while you get to the bar? Nadia
guess
has heard the command, and once you approach the bar, she goes, "What will you be having then?"
Finest whiskey. What else? John would say with a smile.
She starts pouring you shots on the bar, same thing, like 5 things loaded out, and just like pouring them across.
John would take a shot and raise it to the rest of the party. My friends, I think we've earned this.
Frank would just cheers you with a bottle.
So, with that, and you're all sitting in the bar, cheersing to your latest victory, I'm going to end the session. I think in between this session and the next session, I have said that I would like to give you guys a feat, but it's going to be a story-driven feat, so that'll be learnt between the next 2 sessions. Also, you will, if everybody wants, I think this is the way we're going to go. Everybody would like some downtime, right? So think about what you'd like to do during your downtime. And finally, you can all add the gold from the 2, because he will come down and give you the gold before we get to the next session. You can all add 200 gold to your inventory.
Yay.
Splitting from 1,000 gold 5 ways.
Yeah, yes, because we got 500 from the Feck fumbles and 500 from Mr. Ouijan. Sounds like.
Oh,
From the
Okay.
arc, yeah, from the rail count. Well, actually, it's from Mr. Ouijan. It's not even from arc.
Yeah.
okay. I thought he was only giving us 100 to split between the 5 of us. That's why
Might
Okay.
as well call him Daddy Ouijan.
Let's not.
No. We had
Let's
500
not.
and then another 100.
And
It's
with
already
that,
600.
I'd like to thank everybody who watched today. We'll see you again next week, same place, same time. Hope you enjoyed the show, because we sure as hell enjoyed playing it for you. And until next week, thank you so much, everybody.
All right.
Goodbye.
Thank you
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
It's been a pleasure.
Bye.